I don't have any injuries to give you today, but I'm sure I'll have some going forward here. Some updates for you. Anyways, the good to get the win. Obviously, appreciated the fans and the support that they gave. One of my favorite moments was finding out about Buck O'Neil going into the Hall of Fame. I mean, how great was that? Tremendous compliment to him and his family, the surviving family there. So, and all the people that actually helped him along the way to get there, and in particular, getting into the Hall of Fame. So with that, listen, I thought our defense played well, and we were fundamentally sound, and made obviously some big plays there. And our offense was a little bit sporadic. We had a few drop balls that we'll work on and make sure we fix that. But there were some good things there too. And, we were able to drive the length of the field a couple different times and so on. And then special teams, I thought, was tremendous. The coaches, I think, did a nice job with it. The coordinators, Spags, Eric, and Dave Tobe, I thought were spot on with their game plans, and the assistant coaches did a nice job. And then the players obviously trusted the things that were being taught to them. So with that, time's yours.
Let's go first to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Herbie.
McCall Hardman, his snaps seem to have diminished over the last 3 weeks, capped off last night with a season low 9 snaps. What is behind the thought process of diminishing his role on offense?
Yeah, Herbie, sometimes it works out that way. We still have a lot of trust in McCall, and and other weeks it'll be higher. It's the way it worked out. I mean, sometimes those things happen.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, we've asked you a number of times about the improving defense over the last couple of weeks, and frequently you'll mention 2-4, Melvin Ingram, and what he's been able to do. How much do you view him as a catalyst of really getting this whole defense and the ship righted there?
Yeah, no, he's been a positive influence for the defense. I think, Pete, probably the thing was getting everybody back healthy, corners, D-line, linebackers. We had pieces missing, it seemed like every week. And then some of the younger kids are getting more experience and playing better. So I think it's a culmination of all of that. But I don't want to slight Melvin. When you had a Pro Bowl player in there, I mean, that's going to help you. And then he's got a good attitude. So, and he's a good leader. He's very smart. So it's been a welcomed addition. The credit goes to Brett Veach on that for sure. And the job that he did getting him there.
Let's go next to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Yeah, Andy, you've seen a lot of football for a lot of years. Have you ever seen a 20-play drive that resulted in 0 points?
No, but I'm glad I saw it. That was a positive thing. So, from our standpoint, it was a great, fourth down stand by our defense, and would have liked to have kept them back where they were, but that's the way it rolled, and the guys didn't hang their heads on it. But I'm glad we were able to keep them out there.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, I have 2 questions for you. The first is, when you get into the middle of the season, say starting in October, can you explain the ratio of coaching to minimize your team's weaknesses versus coaching for that week's opponent in terms of game plan, how you sort of weigh those 2 things? And then Brad will have a follow-up.
Yeah, so you try to coach and fast forward, I think you'd say, of what you've got your team doing, but at the same time, make sure the fundamentals are right. you know, whatever team that you're playing. So we spent a lot of time on getting ready for the Raiders this week. And so what you do, Nate, is you're going to take your players' strengths and you're going to try to utilize those, put them in positions where you can utilize those matchups. All those things are important, the best you can. Defensively, you're going to try to find, again, matchups are important, and how are you going to where are you going to put people, and then make sure they're fundamentally sound in those positions. Keep working on those things that maybe they need work on, and then let's go. Let's roll.
Yeah, and then secondly, Andy, you know, we talked to Cal Long on Friday. Just how close was he to maybe being in uniform for the first time last night, and just what was the decision to have him as one of the inactive guys?
Yeah, he's getting there. He's kind of right on that border of being there. I just think, you know, we'll see how he does this week, and you know, just for him to be back out doing what he's doing, Nate, I think is a big thing. So, and I try to keep a close eye on him when he's working either with a scout team or working in with the offense.
Let's go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. You mentioned the drops with Tyreek specifically, because he's hit a career high in that category. I guess it's easy for us, or it'd be better for us if we could just pinpoint one thing. But is it that simple, or is it a combination of things at play there?
Yeah, well, I mean, every route's different, so it's you know, the things have happened on, but you know, just going back to the basics, I think, is important. Sometimes these things come in cycles like that, where you know, the ball sometimes looks big and sometimes it looks small, you know, so a little bit like batters go through in baseball. So you know, you got to refocus it back on the fundamentals and go right back to square one. You know, see the tip of the ball, squeeze it, put it in the tuck, and then do that at mock speed, and with you know, whatever elements are out there, you got to put all that together.
We've got three more. We'll go right down the line, starting with Matt. Go ahead, Matt Derrick.
Hey, Coach. By my count, it's 5 straight games where your best drives of the game, longest drives, have come in the first 15 plays. I'm just curious, you know, as a play caller, how do you really start to get that connection where you can take the success that you have in that first drive and extend it? I know we've talked about it before and everything, but is that how frustrating is it that you can have these drives coming straight out of the game, but then you haven't been able to extend that later on in the game?
Yeah, you'd like to be able to do that. So that's what we're working through. You know, it's one of those things. You know, we're not perfect, right? So we're striving for that, and we want to make sure that we work through all that and just keep ourselves a little bit more consistent in that area. But right now, it's been well, last night it was drops and penalties that are drive stoppers, and so we've got to make sure that we get rid of those, and that puts you in a better position. Or, you know, earlier it was turnovers, so we got to make sure we don't do that.
Let's go next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
And Brad, I'll have a follow-up question. Coach, just there's a lot of analytics that are saying now that, like, with the 25-yard line being what's given to you on returns, that maybe it's just best to take a knee whenever possible, right, if they'll kick it into the end zone. That's obviously not the philosophy you guys have. I'm just curious why, you know, or what the view is as to why you guys are one of the teams that brings it out more than most teams.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's you know, the risk reward principle, I guess. So we've had enough return for decent yardage where you think you can do that. It also is a mindset for your group that you better be ready to go and don't think that it's going to be kicked in the end zone and every time. So there's a little bit of a mindset that goes with it. But that's been kind of our philosophy with that.
And then the physicality part of the game, Juan Thornhill on the first series, it's a 9-yard run, but he finished it by drilling the back and putting him down. And your team, you could see that, even though it's that no one would call a 9-yard play a success, they fired up the team, and then you get 2 stops. They lose a yard, I think, over the next 2 plays. Willie Gay playing with physicality. How important is that? How much of a can you quantify how much that having that kind of physical ability to not just bring a guy down, but to bring him down with force, and what that does for the defense as far as making it better?
Yeah, those are the things that aren't in the stats. So, and that goes along with the mindset of your team and the emotions involved. And you don't want to talk to a statistician about momentum. So that's a no-no. And so, but it does rise up the energy level of your team when you have a few of those things take place. And so it's an emotional game, and it's hard to exclude emotion from it.
We'll go last to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, wanted to ask you about a couple things. First, on Chris Jones, he got his hands on a couple balls, passes last night. I think he did against the Cowboys the week before and against the Raiders the week before. He seems to be doing that a lot lately. Is there an art to that? What's allowing him to really be good at that part of the game? And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, well, first of all, he's long. I mean, he's tall and long, and so he gets his hands on a lot of balls. The other thing is he's got great get off, and so he studied. We all see this happy-go-lucky kid that is out there, but he does study his tail off and make sure that he knows what the offensive linemen are doing and how they react to certain things. So he's done a nice job with that. And
okay, and
he's almost like Tony Tolbert was at the University of Texas at El Paso, since you're donning the orange band.
Big basketball game tomorrow night. They're in town.
Yeah.
Wanted to ask you about also you've won 5 straight games now. I know they don't give you any rings for that, but you've done that every year. Your team has won at least 5 straight every year since you've been here. Again, I know that there's no championship for that, but what does that say to you? Is that meaningful in any way to you that your team has been able to rise to this level at least once every season since you've been here?
I didn't know all that, but I'm proud of the guys for doing that. I mean, it's not one guy, it's a combination of people, the coaches, player. I mean, it's everybody. It's pulling together and not giving up on each other. So that's where if I'm saying I'm proud of it, that's what I'm probably the most proud of.